Hey guys, I'm back, and today, before we start, there's chaos all over here, and I know that. I just moved in with my girlfriend, and today we're going to talk about the TERRORTOP engine. I already answered a lot of comments about people asking me why I didn't play the TERRORTOP engine in the SALAMANGREAT deck, and I just want to say that right off the bat, the engine is not good in SALAMANGREAT, and it's not good in many other decks, so don't start playing this engine just because it can get out in free rank 3 and it can get out it can be used without using the normal summon. So we will just go right into that. So I'm going to show you the deck profile. This is the deck profile I just showed you in one of my latest videos. This is just a basic deck profile. You play a lot of hand traps and you play the Lady Debug and 2 SALAMANGREAT of Fire. In this, you basically have 5 normal summon starters and the rest are pretty much extenders or like combo pieces. For example, the Foxy, Jack Jaguar, Falco, this is for recursion, this is recursion and an extender when you have it in the deck. Weasel is an extender, Silent Mining, Searching, Circle is for searching, Charge is an extender and an interruption, and then we've got the necessary engine piece, the brick, Sanctuary, the Will of the SALAMANGREAT, which is an extender and also a combo piece, and we've got the Rage and the Raw, which are basically pseudo bricks. They aren't bricks because if you just draw them you can just set them and use them like that and search the other trap, but if you go second and you want to break a board, these are pretty much bricks. And the problem with the TERRORTOP engine is, I just have another deck profile right here, this is pretty much it, that you can play it, but the problem is you add another brick, and Takatombok is pretty much a hard brick because if you draw the Takatombok alone it is pretty much nothing. You can of course use it if you draw TERRORTOP plus Takatombok, but it can only be special if you control a wind monster, and nothing in SALAMANGREAT is wind, so that's why this is not a good brick like the SALAMANGREAT traps or like the SALAMANGREAT charge or Falco, because if you draw Falco you can just use Mirror Stadio to not summon the Jack Jaguar, but you can just summon Foxy effect, discard the Falco, and then you get the recursion from the Falco, which is pretty good. And also it gives you more options in the deck. So you have the option to either set Rage or Raw, or you have the option to send Falco in the follow-up turn to recur the traps or the spells, and you just have more ways to utilize your SALAMANGREAT engine, because if you first turn already use Jack Jaguar, Weasel, Foxy and Gazelle and the Fire, then you pretty much have nothing left in deck and you can just pretty much search nothing. And that's why this engine takes up too many main deck slots. And the problem is, if you go second, you already have the problem if you draw Sanctuary, and this is pretty much a dead draw because it does nothing, because you can search with the Bailings. And also the Raw is not the best draw if you go second. And you also don't want to up your main deck count, because if you up your main deck count, what you do is you add a lot of combo pieces like the TERRORTOP, but you don't gain anything from it because you can go into the Mirror Stadio with your normal engine as well. And what problem this gives you is that you lose good engine pieces, which of course you don't have to play Falco, you don't have to play the SALAMANGREAT Rage, but you also don't have the option if you play the deck. And TERRORTOP of course is a good one card combo, and it's a good starter because it doesn't use your normal summon, and if you have like TERRORTOP plus Lady Debug, then you of course have more plays. But the problem is, what happens if you, for example, and this is, I didn't put it in here, what happens if you, for example, draw the TERRORTOP plus Lady Debug plus the Gazelle, you can just go into the Bamboozling Gossip Shadow, and I just cover the effect here, but it's pretty much, it says if your opponent activates a monster effect, you can detach 2 materials and make the effect both players draw 1 card, so it's a changing effect. So if your opponent activates Nibiru, you can just change it into both players draw 1 card. Of course, this is not the best effect because, of course, your opponent draws another card too, and the Nibiru will stay in the hand. But it's a way to play around Nib, and don't get me wrong, playing around Nib and having an out for Nib in this deck is super cool, but it's the same problem with Baron in the last formats, where you could just go Tiger into Baron. But the problem is, if you resolve Mirastalio afterwards, you cannot use the Baron or the Bamboozling Gossip Shadow because you're locked into fire effects, which pretty much this one says. Here it says you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except fire monsters. So the problem at this point is that you pretty much make a board and then it's nib proof, but then you make it not nib proof in the next moment. And what I want to show you is, like, I will just put it in here, and I will just put the trap in here. Oh, trap, yeah, searching trap, that's really Salamangreat Rage of God. Great, Salamangreat Rage. So what happens is if you play it like this, you have, wait, let me just change the camera. Yes, like this. So, not deck constructor, I want to enter the solo mode. So the TERRORTOP, solo mode. So this is a perfect example pretty much. So what I wanted to say is you pretty much have full combo already in hand. You have those two, which could be hand traps at this point. But let's say you just use this to search your Salamangreat of Fire, which is basically the 1-card combo into everything. So at this point you would just start with this, overlay both into the Gossip Shadow because you already have full combo with Code of Soul and Fire, and then you can just normal summon, search the Gazelle, and then you already have basically full combo. But the problem is, at this point, you pretty much have to skip the, what is it called, the Mirastalio, which basically says, okay, you don't get to the Jaguar, but we will just go through it. I don't want to go into the deck. Yes, I want to. I just search the field spell. Then I'm going to special summon the Gazelle, of course. I just missed that, and use the effect. This will then get Raw into the grave, and then special summon this, and then what I said, okay, you declared whatever. This is, by the way, this is a 3-card combo, of course. Now you can just go into the Promethean Princess, summon back anything, does not matter. And then you can just go into Raging Phoenix, activate field spell, go into Raging Phoenix. And then you can just set the raw and then add the rage. And now you might say, okay, this is basically what's good about the deck. And of course, having this as well, being a nib, making a combo nib proof, of course this is not a bad board. But the problem is, right here, I'm playing 1 brick, like the Takatomborg, 2 bricks, 3 bricks, 4 bricks, and then I also play, like, this is not a starter Spinny is not a starter. Of course, Spinny and Gazelle is started together, but it's not a starter on its own. And also, what if your opponent has 2 hand traps? Then your combo is pretty much dead anyways. So you get nipped anyways. Okay, we don't need to, but Foxy is also not a starter. There are many hand traps which are not starters, and just putting more bricks into the deck will make your deck way less resilient to hand traps, because you will also draw bricks more often. And in this example, of course, I could have sent like the Jack Jaguar and then so I could have not played the Rage and just sent the Jack Jaguar. But then, what do you do with the Jack Jaguar? It's just one more recursion piece, and this is just outright bad, because if I had to decide to play this brick or this brick, then I would always decide the SALAMANGREAT trap, because there are more ways to it. I just have to draw the TERRORTOP engine, and Rage, if I draw it, it's super nice going first, but if I don't draw it and I draw another card like the Rage, the Raw, I can of course just set it or just search it. I will just reset the deck. The last board was just like 1 searcher plus 1 extender, and this is pretty much what we have right here. So I will just put this away and this way, and then I'm going to show you how you can also play around Nib if you draw a trap, because what you had in the last board was 2 traps plus the SALAMANGREAT board, and you were safe to nib. And if you got nipped, then you pretty much, you just have the 2 traps and you have the monster and you get another draw, but your opponent also gets another draw. And if you have the trap plus Code of Soul plus Lady Debug, you can also play around it, because you can just normal summon the Lady Debug. The Lady Debug will just search the Gazelle. Then you just go into your Bailings. This is pretty much the normal combo. You just search the Sanctuary, special Code of Soul. Then you go into Lady Debug. Of course, you activated the Code of Soul, which I didn't do here because I'm just going fast. And then you will trigger your Gazelle, special summon it in here, and then trigger both the Cyber's Wicked and the Gazelle, banishing the Lady Debug. And then we will just mill the at the Weasel, and then just mill the doesn't really matter right here. You can just, for example, go for something you don't have, like the Jack Jaguar or the Spinny, because if you pretty much put Spinny in here, you can just go through your wait a minute, this goes to graveyard again, so you don't special it back, but you just go for the Promethean Princess, and now at this point you pretty much can get nipped. And if you get nipped right here, what you can just do is you have 2 SALAMANGREATs in graveyard, and then you just special summon back the Weasel. Weasel go into the Bailings, and then you just activate the Weasel, which will pretty much special summon anything back to your opponent's board. That's not what I wanted to do. It just goes to the opponent's side, and then you just declare the Promethean Princess, special summoning it by destroying both. And then, because you didn't use the effect, you can just go into the effect and just, for example, special the Gazelle, and then you can also special summon the Spinny, and then just go into full combo. You can just go into this, special summon this, and at any point in this combo you were safe to nip, because if you get nipped on the Cyber's Wicked, you pretty much have 2 Salamangreats in graveyard, and also have the Weasel in hand, because then you can just special Weasel, activate the Spinny, go into Mirror Stalio, and then get Jaguar and go into Promethean Prince that way. Or in this way, you can just special summon back 1 monster and then get the Spinny afterwards and go into Mirror Stalio. But either way, you pretty much end up on a good board. Then the worst thing you can do is always go into the Promethean Princess plus any monster into the Raging Phoenix, and then activate another field spell and go into another Raging Phoenix. So at this point we pretty much have 2 bodies, because we got nipped early. If you, for example, get nipped on the what is it called, the Promethean effect, so you activate the effect, you pretty much have to save one of your Balings on the board to have another monster. But so, because then you cannot use the effect to summon back, and then you pretty much end up on the same Raging Phoenix plus whatever you have, like this Spinny. And yeah, what I'm talking about is that you always get Raging Phoenix, which pretty much means you still get nipped, you still played through nip, and you still got to Rage and Roar. So you pretty much have the same end board against nip when you play Rage and Roar. And also when you play the TERRORTOP engine, you might cut the Rage, and then you don't end on Rage and Roar because you cut one of them and you just were safe to nip, but you already are safe to nip because your engine can play around. So if your engine is already safe to nip, you should think about why you should play this engine of pre-TERRORTOP, because of course it helps you and it makes it more easy, because if you get nipped on the TERRORTOP part, you can just normal summon Lady Debug and then combo afterwards. But there is no point in doing that, because you can already play around nip with your engine, and what this makes you is you play one less suboptimal brick, because of course Rage going first and especially going second can be a brick, because of course if you don't draw engine with it, then it pretty much does nothing, and going second you want to break a board, you don't want to set traps. And what I mean by that is, don't play suboptimal bricks in decks that already do have bricks and that want to play their own engine bricks. For example, in one deck, the Goblin Biker deck, the engine is not bad because you have like 1 brick and you desperately want to go into rank 3. Doesn't matter which Xyz materials it has, and you don't care about locking yourself in the deck because the deck does not lock anything. And that's why it's good in this deck, but it's not good in Salamangreat. So I hope you could understand that, and have a nice day and stay safe, and that's it about the video.